Hey guys, Card Hour and Troy here, back with another episode. Really excited to be back. Kind of a quicker one today. We're going to be talking about Champions League, second legs, and then maybe a quick little preview of the upcoming matchups. You guys, once again, were supporting us really well in the last episode, so we have a bunch of viewer questions today, which we're really excited to answer. Talking a little bit about Bellingham and Makoko, talking about the Holland 365 sticker, talking about buying raw versus buying graded. So interested to get to that later. Yeah, and it'll be good. Oh, once again, we are officially on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, so definitely make sure you go subscribe. And if you're really just feeling super generous, don't be afraid to throw a little rating in there. We'd appreciate that. And yeah, we'll see you in a second. But first, the intro.
Or a block. Sancho. Haaland's volley is beautiful. Kylian Mbappe's star is shining now, and it's risen higher than his.
Like to buy? What should I buy? What should I buy?
I think we're gonna see a lot more cards going up in price.
Neste momento, começa o cerimonial oficial.
Wow, just gets better and better every time I watch it. But yeah, man, straight into it. Champions League. Are you surprised? What did you think of the results?
Surprise? No, not really. I kind of expected those results. Of course, it's easy to say afterwards, but
yeah.
No, I mean, Haaland was just not there. It was not enough. And I think this was his 7th game not scoring, so he's obviously never going to be a GOAT. And then
yes, sell while you still can. Make sure all the listeners take that away. Get out while you still can.
And then Liverpool, Real Madrid 0-0. I mean, again, shows you that Liverpool is just not the season for them, or it's never gonna be. I don't know, but if you 3-1 behind, then you have to do anything, and you draw 0-0. Even if you win 1-0, you at least scored or tried. Like 0-0 just shows you like it doesn't matter. I feel like. Then Chelsea lost against Porto 1-0, but they have the aggregate, so they are going to the semifinals with our boy Pulisic.
Yes, the GOAT. Him and Mason Mount, proving the doubters wrong.
The GOAT, the legend. And now we have PSG losing to Bayern, but still qualifying, which I also kind of thought would happen. I mean, Bayern without Lewandowski, Bayern without Goretzka, without Gnabry. Like, Choupo-Moting is...
he found a way to score, though.
I mean, he does, but that's the only thing you're going to get out of him. Like, you need more than one goal, and Choupo-Moting is only going to give you one goal. So the other goal or goals had to come from someone else, and there was not really a lot to go off. So assuming Choupo-Moting is going to give you one goal, you still need 2 or 3 others, and that I didn't see that happen in the with the team they had, because Coman is just, I mean, he's good, but he's just Coman. And Sané was far from impressive. Kimmich wasn't really on it. And the subs, I mean, yeah, without Lewandowski, I think, again, this shows that Lewandowski has a huge impact. And that shows you that Bayern without Lewandowski is just another team. It hurts me to say, but maybe Goretzka would have made more of a difference. But, I mean, again, they play a big team twice without Lewandowski, and they get kicked out. So
yeah,
I'm
gonna say it definitely would have been. I think they go through if it was just Lewandowski out and they had Goretzka and those guys. I think they would have. I think they would have gone through. But yeah, it was surprising to me. I mean, like you said, we knew they weren't going to have those guys, but they were the favorites. I mean, I think both of us said that at the beginning, that we thought that's who we'd put our money on. Obviously you can't foresee those injuries, but considering the aggregate and all that stuff, what happened in the first leg, maybe not a ginormous shocker, but still, if you had told me at the beginning that PSG was going to beat Bayern, I mean, I definitely would have been surprised.
Yeah, same. I had Bayern to win the whole tournament again, but again, that's assuming they have everyone. And to be honest, like PSG, they could have beat Bayern like 6-1. Like Neymar hit the crossbar twice, I think. He hit the post. Neymar, Neuer did like 1 or 2 great saves in one-on-ones. Like, it could have been a lot worse. But again, you need to score these goals. You can hit the crossbar 7 times, then it's still 0-0. So
yeah, I mean, I was impressed with Neymar's performance. I'll say that, even though he didn't score a goal. I mean, it's interesting. I saw a bunch of comments like, "Oh, it's too bad Neymar showed us again why he's so good. It's too bad he signed up for the PSG pension plan." And I was just like, "Yeah, I feel that. I want him to go somewhere else too." But it's like now 2 years in a row, semifinals at worst and finals. So I don't know. That PSG is having success. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I wouldn't count them all the way out. So that was interesting. The other thing I took away, besides, I mean, like Porto, Chelsea. I mean, what do you want me to say? Real Madrid, Liverpool. What do you want me to say? But normally, I only do the "I told you so's" on the channel, but I'm gonna do one. I'm gonna do one here as well.
okay.
Jude Bellingham, 1 goal to the moon, and it's exactly what I said. I was like, I think I was like, you have Mbappe and Haaland, and even Foden was he's been up there. But I was like, these guys who are 1 step below, if they have a moment, their stuff is going to go. And we saw that exact thing with Bellingham. I mean, those Tops Now cards, I mean, they're at PSA, so it's those are going to be worth like $10 by the time I get them back. But it's like, I think it was $500 the PSA 10s are going for. And you literally could have bought, if you had bought direct from Tops in bulk, I think you can get them for as low as maybe like $6-7. So, I mean, that's just absurd. But Bellingham is good, though. He should have scored in the last leg as well.
Yeah, he was robbed of a goal because that was clearly not a foul. He was actually fouled by the goalie. Again, shows you what the importance of having the slabs ready to go. Because, again, I'm not even sure if they're going to keep their value when you get them back, because, you never know when you get them back.
Yeah.
Again, which I think I talked about this last time, it's cool to see these card prices rise, but if you don't have the cards, by the time you actually receive them and have the opportunity to sell them themselves, prices might already drop again by 50%. Because the hype is not going to continue unless he does something again in the next game. Like, if he doesn't score, well, he's out, obviously, but in the next Bundesliga game or whatever he's coming next, if he doesn't keep performing, then his price is going to drop because there's no reason to invest in him. Like, he has his moment. It's the same with Lewandowski last season in the Champions League. Like, everyone was investing in him, and as soon as he won the Champions League, was 2 days after, and he dropped like a ton of bricks again. So it's now is Bellingham's moment. Last week was Vinicius' moment. Like, if Vinicius scores the next Champions League game, then obviously his price is gonna increase again or stay where they are. But if he stops scoring, well, like what most likely will happen, then price is probably gonna drop again.
Yeah, I mean, my only hope is that like people look at what his PSA 10s were at some point, and then they're like, well, $200 seems pretty cheap. Actually, those were selling for $550 at one point. That's kind of my only hope at this point. Like, it's the same thing with Vinicius. I'm just hoping that the fact that it was once at a certain peak will drag up the comps in general.
It happened.
It's actually a good transition, speaking about raw versus graded, into one of our questions, because that was one of them. But real quick before then, assuming I don't have anything else really in terms of reactions, just like on Bellingham though, are you buying the hype? I mean, I know in general you're always you caution us, but what do you think of Bellingham?
I mean, he's obviously talented, but it's too soon. I mean, he scored 1 goal in the Champions League now, or 2. Now he scored 2. Yeah. So I don't know. A lot of people scored 2 goals in the Champions League at a young age. So I don't know.
I also saw.
We're not sure what's going to happen to this Dortmund team as well. Like, if Sancho leaves, if Haaland leaves, if Rena leaves, I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's what I saw a graphic saying, like, they see a scenario with no Champions League football, all these guys leave, and then they're saying, like, outside of Lewandowski, though, some of these guys, once they leave Dortmund, don't have the same success. So it'll be interesting to see.
They're 5th in the Bundesliga. I mean, the great Dortmund with Haaland is 5th in the Bundesliga, 7 points behind Frankfurt. And it doesn't seem like Frankfurt is going to slow down anytime soon. So they're probably going to miss out on Champions League. Now they're going to get kicked out. So I do want to talk about. Sorry to change
No, go
plans.
ahead.
I do want to talk about a bit about Neymar.
Okay. Is this a boiling point or is this just
No.
okay, go
It's
ahead.
just. Well, I don't think it's gonna become one. It could become one. So keep your intro ready when you need them.
Okay.
No.
All right. Go
I
ahead.
just think a lot of people. I feel like Neymar is still way undervalued. He was in the conversation way back when Prism, the soccer card market boomed, and there were 4 players that were talked about: Messi, Ronaldo, Mbappe, and Neymar. Now Neymar lost his spot to Haaland, but I still think Neymar is way undervalued. He showed what on a good day what he can do. Like he basically destroyed the whole Bayern team. I also talked about this on my live about Neymar rolling over the floor all the time. Like, just look what happened to Pulisic. He got fouled 11 or 12 times during a game. Like, at some point, you're getting sick of it. Like, how many fouls does a player have to endure for a referee to take notice? Like, that's also his strength. But I'll come to that in a second. Like, at some point, like if you get fouled 5 times, okay. But after the 6th, 7th, 8th time in a game, and this is not one game, it's every single game when he's really at his highest, when he's performing, there's only one way to stop him, and that's making a foul. So it's just bad for him that he has to do it like this, because otherwise he gets fouled 25 times in a game, and that's just not fun if you're a guy like Neymar who is really skillful and talented. Like, he wants to do something, and every time he has the ball he gets bombarded by 2 or 3 players. Like, that's not fun. It's like Pulisic had to give an interview after the game, and he was like, I'm beat up, I'm tired, I'm hurt, I want to get out of here, I've been fouled 12 times, like, what you want me to say? And that's also the strength of Neymar, because of he's so skillful and he can control the ball and he can control the midfield and the wing. Like, he draws people to him, which leaves space for Mbappe and Di Maria on the sides. So it's actually his whole intention. Like, he can keep the ball, create space, and give through balls, which is one of his strengths. What also causes these fouls is that it takes minutes away from the opponent to do anything. Like, every time he fouls, he stays on the ground for like 30 seconds, and then he gets up another 30 seconds before they actually can play. A minute has gone by, and then especially in games like this, it's very important to steal minutes away from your opponent, even though you might call it anti-play and anti-soccer and anti-football, whatever you want to call it. It's just how the game works. Like, if Bayer was in the same position, that would have done exactly the same thing. So I think people need to understand the game more, understand the game he's playing a little bit more, and that there's more to it than just rolling over the floor. That was it. It was not really a warning point, but I had to put it out there.
I still think we missed an opportunity with the intro there. If you had just had a little bit more anger and you had started off with, I don't know why people are so stupid, we could have used it. But no, that was good. I'm actually surprised you came out on the side of Neymar's flopping. I agree with you, actually, but I wouldn't have expected that.
Sometimes it feels like he's a bit too much, but I understand it, man. I would, as I said, like, look at the 2018 World Cup, how many fouls he had to endure. And sometimes it's really players not even going for the ball. It's like, let's take down Neymar, because at some point he's going to get dangerous.
That's what I was going to say, though. Do you not feel that he's egging them on a little bit? It seems like some people, especially maybe classical football purists, disagree with the way he actually carries himself and the way he plays the game.
Sure, but if that makes his team win, like if he draws a foul 2 times and the guy gets red, that's good for the team. Like, but again, I would agree, like, real purists would be like, yeah, I mean, that's not how you play football. But the game evolves. Like, back in the day, there was no attacking fullback. It was all only like center backs and and fullbacks, not upcoming wing backs. Back then, he had libero role. Like, the game changes. Maybe not for the better, maybe for the worse, but it changes, and either you adapt and you stay in the past and you complain about every single thing that happens without not having control about it, you know. But I think he's definitely one of a kind, because he actually is that player that can do it, and he's very skillful. Like, you cannot argue that Neymar isn't one of the best players of his generation. Like, that would be completely stupid. But
definitely. Well,
I do believe that he gets underappreciated.
Yeah, and now it makes a little more sense. I'm with you on the win at any cost. I like that that analysis. And yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I was buying Neymar prisms at literally $50. So I was 2014. I was like, yeah, he is undervalued. He still probably is. I won't go fully into it, but I've been looking at his like Abril goal and like Brasileiro. Wow, terrible pronunciation. Good effort though.
That's
but
right.
I've been looking because that stuff is so low pop. So just interesting, just something to think about. It's just what I've been looking at. I agree with you. He's undervalued. Taking it back to kind of the raw versus graded stuff we were talking about. This is our first question. What are your opinions on raw base or optic rookies like Foden and Vinicius? Should I sell a couple of them and buy graded? And I directly copied and pasted everything today, so there would be no confusion with my paraphrasing. But with this one, we are going to have to assume. I'm assuming he owns these right now, and he's asking if he should just sell them instead of getting them graded and then just buy the graded versions themselves. What do you think?
Still hurts me that optic rookies are considered rookies, but
yeah, I mean, especially with the Vinicius one, I understand it because there were like he has stuff from Brazil, but I will say with Foden, that is one of his first releases, even like just in general.
Sure. Raw base. Well, it depends on whether you believe that now PSA submissions are gone, that there is going to be a more stable raw market or a raw market in general where it becomes more valuable. But if you have a couple, I would definitely sell right now that they're peaking in price, and keep some.
Yeah, I guess just the question would be like, okay, let's just assume, well, you don't know. It's part of the equation. Like, we don't know when you'll be able to submit to PSA again, especially when it comes to like bulk submissions. But I guess it's just the question of like, I mean, I've been there too. I think I'm actually in somewhat of a similar position right now. Like, you have a Foden rookie. I think they're doing $50 raw right now. Mm-hmm. And in a PSA 10, they're selling for $700. So it's like, do you feel kind of stupid because maybe you're giving up $650, but also at the same time, it's like, well, you don't know you're going to get a 10. You don't know if PSA is going to open up. So it's just kind of like, do you just bite the bullet and have graded? So like you said, like, I mean, you never know. Maybe Foden has the moment of all moments. You're going to want to have a graded one ready to go this summer. So what do you think?
I mean, if you believe in Foden long term, then you can wait because he will have moments. I mean, if he has a moment now, he's only going to get better, in my opinion. So
yeah.
Well, if it's raw, what did you say? Like PSA 10 is 700.
Yes.
So you can use a Super Express 300. Then you're still making a big profit if you really believe it's going to be. Yes, assuming you get a PSA 10, sure. You never know, especially, well, I'm not going to do that. You never know. But I mean, I'm completely fine selling raw at the moment, to be honest. But that's just me. But if you believe in Foden and Vinicius long term, maybe you should just hold and wait until PSA normal service comes back.
Yeah, for me, because you're paying a crazy multiple for the optic graded ones as it stands right now. And for me personally, like the only way I would do it is if you're going to buy like shout out to Sunday League Investors. I saw them on their thing and they bought a optic Foden Aqua PSA 9 for like $900. I could see that going to 2,000, but I don't see, or like 1,800, whatever it is, 1,500, it's still good profit. At an optic PSA 10 at $700, I don't think that, like, if it breaks 1,000, that's pretty crazy. So to sell out to buy that, like, how much are you really going to end up profiting? And also, if you have that kind of money, because you're only going to get like $150. Like, if you have enough money where you can just go and buy their graded cards anyways, maybe you should be. I would just put my money elsewhere. I guess that'd be the other thing. And assuming you don't have that much money, because I feel like there are a lot of people who have bought these Fodens and Viniciuses for cheap, because maybe it's because what they could afford, and then they went up a ton, and they're like, oh man, I wish I had a graded one. I would have done any better. Like, if you're just starting out, man, like, especially with someone like Foden, where I think it should have at least some sort of value like a year from now, I would just get them graded and see what happens. And then if I had enough money to, I guess it just comes down to with Foden and Vinicius, I would just not be rushing out to buy their optic PSA 10s right now at $700. It just doesn't appeal to me very much. But also holding them raw and waiting a year to get them back doesn't appeal to me either. But I guess it just appeals. Like there's a scenario where that ends up working out for you with the graded ones. I'm not sure. Excuse me. All right, next one. Haaland 365 FIFA rookie sticker. Thoughts? Next big mover. This is the one. If you don't know, it's the one where there's 3 people on the sticker. It's him. Who was it? Like Kang-in Lee. Something like that. But he's in his
Lee and the goalkeeper Lunin.
Yeah, he's in his Norway kit. It's one of his earliest releases, to be fair, that has come out. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, I just asked you. It's the game where you scored like 5 goals or 7 goals, right?
Yep.
Well, I think this is one of the cases that we discover, or the market discovers, that there's something earlier than we have already seen. It's the same with Mbappe. So we have his 2016 foot, and then you have his 2018 stuff. But there's also a 2017 Adrenaline XL card officially licensed by Panini in his Monaco kit, and it's becoming a thing. Like, you see these card prices go up and up and up. I think raw they're going for 200 and 250 ish. Like, that makes sense that it would go up. If it's an official product, even though it's FIFA 365, then it should go up if it's earlier than everything else before. But again, the market decides if it's valuable or not, I would say. Like, you can say it's earlier, but if the market is like, well, we don't really care, then you might need to wait a long time before the market does start to care. Because right now, the market is still driven mostly by people from the States, I would say. And it's going to take a lot more people from Europe and the UK to catch on or come into the market before stuff like this becomes a thing from the start, because we, as from our childhood, we value stickers a lot more than Americans, which is fine. But it takes a while before stuff like this really catches on over cards. So if you're, I can see this becoming a thing. It's going to take some time, I think, unless someone else, like a big profile guy or a channel, starts hyping it up, then obviously it can go a lot faster. But
I wish we knew one of those.
Yeah. It's not many out there, but they could be.
Yeah, no, but all jokes aside, I guess I talked about this a little bit in the last episode. Like, I just kind of, it's more just a feeling with this weirder stuff. I wish I had data to back it up. But here's what I will say. I'm fairly confident on this, but I don't know for sure. So, but like, if we rewound time like 5 years when the market was not as hot, I would bet you that the Jordan 86 Fleers were still well, I know for a fact those were actually still doing respectable numbers, whatever it was, like maybe like $2,000, $5,000, which at the time was a big amount. Mm-hmm. But the weird stuff around it that is worth a lot now, like the Star Rookie and the promo and like there's so many different Jordan cards that are worth a ton of money now.
Yeah.
I would imagine that those were fairly cheap back then. Like if a Fleer is worth $100,000 today and the Nike promo is worth $20,000, I would imagine that ratio was way bigger back then, because people were just like, whatever, I'm just going to buy the nice thing for $2,000. I don't have any interest in this other stuff. So that's just always my concern. And once again, like, I think the weird stuff is cool if you're trying to make money, and it could go up and it's fun and all this stuff. But just like, when/if the market is not as hot, I guess what I'm just saying is, like, if I was to put this in a safe and forget about it for 10 years, I would just buy his rookie sticker or even his Topps Finest or even his Bundesliga, then buy this particular thing and then like hope that people still appreciate it 10 years from now.
Fair.
But to be fair, if you could have got these, I think they literally were like 99 cents or $5 not too long ago, and now they're doing like $50 raw. But yeah, I mean, I think it's cool, but just something to consider. And then the last two are we're getting to the hype segment. What are your guys' thoughts on Moukoko? Well, you hear about his girlfriend locked in his apartment. That was a weird story.
Yeah.
Normally we don't normally we don't get into the drama here. This is, oh man, I wish we had a select few. I was gonna do like a breaking news alert one. We have to get that in here. It would have been a good drop. But yeah, his 23-year-old girlfriend, like he's 16 by the way, or he might be 17 now. I think he's still 16. Locked her in his apartment, and she was like freaking out or something. And it's like even more messed up because he was like, they were saying when he was supposed to be like 11, he was dating. Oh no, when he was 14, I believe. I think they were saying like the age of consent in Germany is like 13 or something crazy. He was dating like a 19-year-old. So like weird stuff going on with him. Sorry, that was my tangent. That happened. I was like, what is going on in his life? So yeah, go ahead.
Apart from that,
yes, besides that,
he's injured now, isn't he?
I believe so.
So what are my thoughts? I mean, he's a young guy playing for Dortmund. That's basically everything I have to say about him. Like, well, I mean, this question like implies investing in him right now to keep long term, and he's gonna become some kind of Mbappe like player. I mean, a lot of people put up crazy numbers in youth systems because if you stand out, that's the thing. If you stand out in youth systems, the chances of you making a first team is very high, like Moukoko, because you need those guys to show what they have in order for them to put in the first team. So if you have a guy like that, they become professional football players. There's a lot of people in that academy that won't make it to the first team, or they end up playing in the second or third league in England, or they go to Cyprus or whatever the case may be. So having a guy that scores a lot of goals gets you a player for the first team, like a Haaland who scored a lot of goals in his youth system, etc., etc. So the fact that he's scoring a lot of goals in the youth system indicates that he's probably going to become a starting first team player. But that's just basically it. That's all we know. He probably can already play on the first level, like the first team. He's still young. He still has to develop. He still has to grow. Like he's 16. Like he's not even fully developed yet as a man, you know? It's like he still has to grow his bones, his strength. He still has to grow. So we don't know what's going to happen. He's already injured and he's 16, you know? Stuff like that happens. So investing in him is definitely a long-term play, because right now he plays for Dortmund, but he might injure himself. He might fall out of favor. They might bring in people that are better than him, so he has to move teams. He might end up on the bench because the coach doesn't like him. Like, I don't know. So my thoughts on Moukoko, blank.
Yeah, I mean, I was just gonna say, like, I think if you talk to people who really know what they're doing, like especially like my friends and people who really do it with basketball prospecting, you don't just go and buy out every single hyped rookie. It's just not a winning philosophy, especially in soccer, which is much less straightforward when it comes to prospecting. So if you want to have fun, if you want to roll the dice, but I think like the more I learn, I think there's still like I still think the only invest in the GOATs is like not dumb, but it's like not necessarily the best approach. But for me, I kind of wait for them to show it a little bit. I'm not in a huge rush. Like if Moukoko starts playing really well and showing consistent performance and I buy in and I could have got him cheaper, that's okay. Like I'm willing to wait for that and maybe lose a little bit instead of, like I said, like buying every single new hype guy who comes out. I mean, sure, it's worked for you in the last year, but I think in general, long term, that's not going to be a winning strategy. So I guess with him, like you said, he's just so young. I need to see it more before I put anything besides. Like, I mean, sure, I think I literally do have his tops now just because it was like $20, but I would never like seriously invest money. I'm not even sure how you would do it right now because he only has that tops now, so it's hardly even worth like having a huge conversation about it.
Yeah, he has a tops best of the best, like the large ones. He has the tops now. He also has a living one, like a living set one. That's going for 25. His tops now got sold yesterday for 40. He has some strange cards from other sets as well, but I don't think we could really look at those.
It's funny. I was literally talking to someone about this today, how I think it's like the lamest thing in the world that people like think they're better than other people because they own a certain piece of cardboard, and they're so dismissive of like, bro, you're buying mosaic, bro. Like, don't even come to my table. Like, I think that's literally the lamest thing in the world. But in this case, with your top best and the best, you guys can keep those. Good luck.
I also have to say last thing on the 13th of April, a Tops Now Bundesliga Mukoko base sold for a PSA 10 sold for $700.
PSA 10 print no Tops Now. It's just printing money, guys. It's easy money. Buy in. But I mean, but that being said, I was like, I want to kind of do the math because as it's been the last year, you actually would have made money if you just bought every single Tops Now that came out. Just bought every single one. Is that a viable strategy going forward? Probably not. But I look back on all of them. I wish I had the Matthew Hope that I didn't buy. I wish I had more Makoko. I wish I had more Bellingham. So interesting to see. All right, thoughts on investing on someone like Mason Greenwood, who has a lot of talent but hasn't put it all together yet. Also, is England going to be on the England squad for the Euros after the Iceland? I mean, I don't think he's going to be part of the squad. It doesn't seem like it right now.
Yeah, I'm afraid not. I really like Mason Greenwood, but again, he's a young guy and he makes mistakes. A lot of people make mistakes, and especially if you're a young guy with a high profile playing for Man U and really basically carrying the team for a little bit. Like he was really good in his, what was it, last season, at the end of the last season. And with all the media attention the player gets now when he scores one goal, then obviously everything you do gets highlighted and you get like completely smashed by media if you do something like what he did. It's just early, and I very much like him. He has great finishing ability. He looks like the part, but again, if he stays at Man U, let's say they bring in Kane. Sorry for all Tottenham fans. Let's say they bring in Kane, he's gonna miss out again. Unless, well, they're thinking of bringing Kane and Sancho at Man U, so he's gonna miss out because Rashford is not moving for Greenwood. So it, again, depends on what's gonna happen with the team he plays in. But I'm a very big fan of Greenwood. I hope he does well. I like him. But as you said, like the England team, even Sancho could miss out. Like from the midfield up, it's a real battle. Like they only have so many places, and there's like 50 people to fit in that team, and there's like 25 places. So I'm not even sure if Sancho's gonna make it. So if it's gonna be a big if Greenwood's gonna make it.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of too with like because I get so excited. I'm a little bit of a hype beast, to be fair. I always want to buy these new up and coming guys. I'm like, all right, well, there has to be at least one where I don't buy it, and unfortunately, Greenwood has kind of been that guy for me. And also, to be fair to myself, though, I think he's literally one of the only soccer cards that exists that you could have bought last year and not done well on, because he was really expensive before. Well, at least with his contenders, which is what a lot of people I think were buying. I guess Fati as well. His contenders were pretty expensive, but yeah, he's just expensive. So I don't know. I don't know what to say besides I'm just not interested, and I wish I had like more data to support it. I guess I'll just say, like, if you believe in him, then sure, like buy him and it could pay off. But I guess just pick your spots with these up and coming guys. Like if you have, if you have Vinicius, maybe don't get Greenwood too, and like all these different guys. Like it just, once again, the market has been going up, so you've probably been all right. But I think like especially now, people need to start preparing for worst case scenario type of deal, and you don't want to be holding all these type of guys because Mason Greenwood and Vinicius are the type of guys that will go to zero fairly quickly. And so just something to consider.
I also want to add that it's funny that the complete opposite happened to Greenwood as what happened to Rashford. Rashford did a lot of great things off the pitch, and his prices went up because of that. And Mason Greenwood did something less good off the pitch.
Well,
and
it depends on your view of morality and how to live your life.
Yeah, sure.
No, I'm joking, but you're right.
He did something great off the pitch without actually. I don't think during that time he really performed. I'm not. I have to check it, but just shows you the power of the media. That's basically my point.
100%. But it's just funny. I had to throw that joke in at least because like so many people were like, "Oh, you were terrible. Like, get him off our team. Like, this is not the way an England international acts." And then of course the young lads were commenting like, "This makes me like him more. I'm more of a Greenwood fan than I was before." But yeah, I mean, it's interesting though, because for all that being said, like I was about to say, like, oh, it just seems like he doesn't have his head screwed on right. His priorities aren't in the right place. Well, Foden has been playing great, and he seemed to be the one who was initiating most of that.
I was about to say it. Everyone keeps forgetting that it was not only Greenwood, it was Greenwood and Foden. And everyone like Foden went to the moon because of his goal. So no one cares. But it's just maybe there's something wrong with Greenwood. I don't know.
I didn't grow up. I didn't grow up in England, but I think there's like an interesting banter in the way people act there. If you want a good laugh, just go watch like Foden and Greenwood on the phone trying to talk to these girls. Like the way they were talking was so funny. Just like they were like, "Oh, what are we coming over for?" And Foden was like, "What do you think?" The stuff he was saying was so funny. So I'm sorry. Thanks for letting me indulge myself with the Makoko and the Foden gossip today. I enjoyed it. But all right, that's all we have for today.
Like Troy's gossip moment.
That would be fun. We'll actually have to do something. Actually, I used to listen to like a fantasy football show, and then at the end they had Matthew Berry's dating advice, like as like a separate function. And you and I know no one would want to listen to that, but you motivate me every day to do stuff that I enjoy. So maybe I don't think we won't do dating advice, but at the very least we have to have like a breaking news or a gossip drop, because I think it's fun. But all right, guys, thank you so much for listening. Once again, drop your comments. We got a bunch of ones. We were sure to answer them. Apple Podcasts and Spotify, check it out, and we will see you next week. Peace.